As a mom, you wear a lot of hats, and sometimes it seems like you're going in a million directions at once. At the 29-Minute Mom, we want to give you the tools to bring it all under control and reach your highest potential. If you give us a few minutes, we'll help you find those extra hours you need every week to achieve balance and satisfaction in everything you're trying to get done. The 29-Minute Mom. It's time just for you. And now, here's your host, life's organization expert, author and coach, Jennifer Ford Berry.
Hey everybody, it's Jennifer Ford Berry back again with another episode of the 29-Minute Mom, where we know every minute counts, and we just want to offer inspiration, organization, education, and motivation for all of you moms out there who are doing a fantastic job getting through the day and juggling all the things. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to just say that we are starting kind of an extension of a series we started previously on the 29-Minute Mom called the Organize Now Challenge. As many of you know that have been following this show for a while, I am an expert organizer and author of several books on organization. One of the books is called Organize Now. It's actually started out as one book and turned into three, so it's a series now. And I'm just super passionate about teaching moms how to get their lives organized, both internally and externally. And I think that it's been really interesting to me what's going on with the organizing industry right now, and just my personal business. We went through this whole quarantine process, and a lot of us were stuck at home, and we were really just kind of put in a position where we were spending more time in our houses, and we were able to figure out what works and doesn't work. I know so many people that decluttered during that time, and maybe just kind of reevaluated how they wanted to live. So since quarantine is over, I cannot tell you, how busy I am just helping clients get organized, because they're kind of at a different place. They are so sick of having too much stuff in the home, and they just want to have a clear, just a more peaceful surroundings. And I obviously believe wholeheartedly in making your home a haven and not keeping things you don't love or use, and making sure everything you own has a home. So I've been really busy doing a lot of projects for people, and it just got me thinking that there's a lot of people out there listening, just like you, that need more help getting organized, but you might not have, a professional organizer in your area, or you can't, really spend the money on one right now. So I'm here to help. I'm here to give you free advice. I want to give you all my tips, and I'm going to try to do several of these smaller podcasts, probably about 15, 20 minutes long, where I can share tips on a specific topic about, a specific area in your life, and help you get that area organized. It's so funny. I don't know about you, but I would love if I could see you right now and I could see who raises their hand. Maybe you can comment after the show, but I have been binge watching The Home Edit. And the girls at The Home Edit, I've followed for several years. And, they just have such a fun life being able to organize celebrity homes. And, they organize the average Joe also. But it's just been fun, the series on Netflix, to watch how they do things. And even though I do this all the time for other people, I still like to see how other organizers work. So it's been really fun. And it's even given me some new ideas. And I think that a lot of people are kind of getting the organizing bug from watching the show. So I just want to say, if you're in that frame of mind right now, then follow along with me in the Organize Now Challenge. And you can really transform your home just by following a few basic tips. If you want to go back to the previous episodes that we did for the Organize Now Challenge on this podcast, I'm going to give you a few episodes to kind of check out. So one of the first ones we did was all about the kitchen. And it was really, really popular because it broke the kitchen down into smaller bite-sized pieces. So if you want to go back and start the Organize Now challenge for the kitchen, you're going to want to start with episode 12 and then go on to, and I'll put this in the show notes today, episode 15 and 17 and 19. So that will cover the kitchen drawers, the cupboards, the pantry, all of the things. And then the next part of the home that we did was episode 22, which was the mud room. So you can kind of look through my website, jenniferfordberry.com, and you can see which episodes were really pertaining to organization. All of the tips that we're giving during the Organize Now challenge comes directly from, besides my personal experience doing this for a living, but also my book, Organize Now, a week-by-week plan to simplify your space and life, which you can get on Amazon or my website. So today, I wanted to cover the basement. And I know some of you are like, oh, I wanted to do something fun like the closets, but the basement is something I think a lot of people struggle with. And I've done so many basements where it started out just kind of like a nightmare, like a dark space that nobody wanted to deal with. And it was kind of basically a dumping ground. Like, if we don't know what to do with it, let's put it in the basement kind of thing. And by the time we were done, people realized they had so much space that was previously unused in the basement. And then they were able to start seeing how they could use the space for something better in their home, such as maybe a playroom or exercise room, entertainment area, kids hangout, all sorts of things. But the way to get there is a step-by-step process that you can't fast forward. It literally means taking a look at what you have and touching and deciding on every single thing. So I'm going to first just kind of preface you for the mindset you need if you want to tackle your basement. Number one, anything that's a big, big project, you cannot look at the whole entire space because you will get overwhelmed. You have to break it down into bite-sized pieces, little tiny segments of that space. You have to kind of, I don't care, you guys, if you're doing one bin per day or one box per day, you have to look at this as a long-term project. Because most moms are too busy to spend an entire week on their basement. Maybe you can. If you do, that's fantastic. But if not, then you really just want to kind of grab your planner, grab your phone with your schedule, and carve out some 60-minute increments, even 30-minute increments. There's no increment that's too small or unproductive as long as you are focused for the entire increment from the beginning to the end on the project at hand. So set a timer if you need to, but you want to carve out some time. And you kind of want to break up the area into zones. Not only, like, if you have just tons of stuff that has no rhyme or reason, my first suggestion would to be make piles based on category. So maybe Christmas decorations, memorabilia, Halloween decorations and costumes, summer supplies, winter supplies, maybe some, what else? I'm trying to think what I have in my husband's a big hunter, so we have a hunting area. We have, let me think about it for a second. I think that's mostly, and then we have a few things that I'm saving for the kids. So really, I think, and I also have some backstock, some extra paper towels and things like that don't fit in my pantry. So those are the main zones that we have. I think I've also seen sporting zones. I think that I've seen gardening maybe. I'm just trying to think of all the different things. So you want to kind of break up all of your stuff into piles based on that specific category, because the category is going to need a zone at the end. And a zone is basically a designated area where all like things live. So For example, if it's Christmas decorations, you don't want some Christmas decorations in a closet upstairs, some in the basement, some in the attic. You want them all together, for the reason being that you will never know how much you have until you see it all together. It makes it easier to purge when you see how much you have, because you'll realize, oh, geez, I do not need, 200 ornaments. 100 is plenty. Or I have 15 Santas and I only thought I had 5. Things like that. So you want to try to start out by making piles of similar categories. So if that makes sense, and get it into your head that this is going to be a project that you kind of work at when you have time. If you're really a motivated person, then I would give yourself a deadline. Like, I'm going to spend an hour a week on the basement and I want all this done by Christmas, something like that. How you organize your basement is relative to the type of basement your home has. These days, there's so many different types of basements, everything from the old dirt floor basement to full, gorgeous, finished basements that boast playrooms, offices, and spare bedrooms. The goal of any basement is to maximize storage space and still protect your belongings against damage. There's no reason to throw an art project downstairs that your kids made without a bin or something to protect it. It will never hold up. I've seen that happen so many times where people do not store their things correctly. So we'll get to that in a second, but do not let your basement be a dumping ground. That is not the purpose of the basement. The number one rule for keeping your basement organized is if you take, my phone rang, the time and energy to store something in your basement, you should be 90% sure you're going to use it again. That's the key. So if you're going to throw it down in the basement, hopefully you're not throwing your stuff down there, but I see that all the time. If you're going to put it in the basement, do yourself a favor and really think it through before you do that. Like, really be honest with yourself. Don't throw things in the basement just because there's space and you can throw it down there and it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. Don't have to think about it. Make sure you ask yourself, am I really going to use this again? Do I even like this thing? What am I going to use it for? And if the answer is 50% or higher that it's not going to be used again, get rid of it before it goes in the basement. You're just adding more work to your plate. By not making decisions when we throw things in storage, we are basically delaying the inevitable job of sorting and purging and deciding later on. So it's really, really easy. So number one, you're going to sort through everything you have. Now that it's all in piles, you have these categories, right? You're going to toss anything that's broken, moldy, mildewed, or just plain trash. You're just going to get rid of it right away. Get some garbage bags, hoe it out, throw it out, have fun with it, let it go. You should be feeling freer by the minute. The next thing is to decide what you want to sell or donate. Just basically items you never use and you no longer want them. You're tired of giving primetime real estate to these things. Primetime real estate is the important parts of your home where you could really maximize organization. But, if you just fill it with clutter, it's not going to do you much good. So decide what you can sell or donate. And remember, I cannot say this enough. Say, for example, you have some sleeping bags in the basement that you never touch. Somebody out there is going to be cold and needing those sleeping bags this winter. Give them away. Maybe you have an extra 3 blenders down there and some young college kid or somebody that's just starting out with a new apartment. Give it away. You're not doing anybody any good by keeping it in the basement. And the one thing I'll hear is, well, this costs money. Guess what? You're not saving any money by keeping it. You're actually wasting money by keeping it in the basement, untouched and unused, until it basically deteriorates where it's completely unusable anymore, or out of style if it's clothing and things like that. So you might as well give it to somebody that can use it now while it actually is something that is current. So give. The third category would be belongs to someone else. So maybe there's stuff in there that belong to your grown children or your spouse. So you want to put that aside and let them go through that at a later date. And then finally, you have everything left that you want to keep. So it's toss, sell, donate, belongs to someone else, or keep. So when you get to the bottom of the pile and you've sorted into those 4 categories and you have the keeps, you want to ask yourself, do I love this? Do I use this? Maybe it's a Christmas decoration that you love, but you never put it out because you're afraid it's going to get broken. Not worth keeping. Maybe it's something like sports equipment. You don't really love it, but you do use it, so that's a keep. Just different. You have to be honest with yourself. Memorabilia. People love to keep every token of memorabilia, throw it in a bin, never look at it again. This is the time to really face that stuff and pare it down to the things that matter most. I have seen countless basements full of stuff that have sat there for 30 plus years. Nobody ever touches it or uses it until that person passes on, and then their children or their friends have to go through stuff and it ends up getting donated or sold anyways. So be very ruthless with what you're keeping in the basement. Don't just keep it because you have space, or don't just keep it down there because you don't want to deal with it. Actually make a decision. So when you're already down to the keeps, you're going to then want to decide on zones, and you're going to want to get clear plastic bins, and you definitely want to get the bins that have, and I'll put that in the show notes too. Let me make a note. The ones that I love the most are the ones that have locked on lids. So they're basically a clear bin with a lid that the handles come over the top and lock on. So I will make a note to put that, just in case you're not aware of that. But clear bins are the best because if they're up on a shelf, you can still see what you have. It's not a mystery bin like the colored bins become, unless you really want to use red and green bins for Christmas, black and orange bins for Halloween, things like that. I just want to stop right here and just kind of read this verse that is in the book on page 183 that I absolutely love, and it's Matthew 6:19 through 21. Do not gather and heap up and store for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust and worm consume and destroy, and where thieves break through and steal. But gather and heap up and store for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust nor worm consume and destroy, and where thieves do not break through and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So I just love that reminder that our joy and our importance here does not come from heaping stuff into our storage houses, basically. It comes from things that, are stored in your heart. So keep that in mind. Give with an open heart when you're doing your basement, and, give back to the kids. I mean, if your children are 40 years old and their stuff's still in your basement, it might be time for them to store it at their own house. Just saying. So again, different zones could be holiday decorations, a play area for the kids, a work area, which would include tools, bulky storage equipment, maybe I do this a lot in basement, maybe kitchen, what do you call them? Like appliances that you don't use on a regular basis. Maybe it's that big, huge turkey pan that you use once a year. No need to keep that in your everyday kitchen, ladies and gentlemen, or ladies for the most part here. Just things that you barely touch. Maybe cans for if you do any canning. I keep my cans in the basement. I don't need to keep them in my pantry unless they are full of food. So here's the thing. The basement can be a really easy, clutter-free area. I've done so many where they never thought it was possible. But the key is to just handle your stuff. Just tackle it. Evaluate what you have and what is worth keeping. So once you decide everything that you want to keep, the best thing, like I said, is the clear plastic bins, but you also need to use labels. So what I do is I print off labels on my computer for my clients, and they're basically the labels that are like 2 inches high by 3 inches wide, or sometimes it's a 2x2. just Avery Labels. I have a template on my computer. If anyone needs it, I'll be happy to send it to you. You can just email me at organize@jenniferfordberry.com and I'll send you the template. But it's super easy because you can edit, you can keep track of all your categories as you go. And then once you've consolidated, you'll know these are the final categories. You print out your labels, you slap them on the storage bins, and you're good to go. The cool thing about labels is since you're not in your basement very often, you can easily forget what is in a bin. Or if another family member wants to put something away, which is great and what we want to train all of our family members to do, then they'll know how to do that by looking at the label. So super, super easy. And when you're putting stuff away, the other thing, this is totally up to you, but another trick is, say for example, you're redoing your basement, you buy a bunch of bins and you're putting stuff away in a really organized fashion. You might want to put underneath the main category specific items that are going in that bin for things like holiday decorations, because if you don't, then if you reconfigure the bins later on, it might not all fit properly. So you might want to say, okay, ornaments in this bin with this Christmas tree and this, snowman or whatever the case may be. The other thing about holiday decor, and I know we're getting into holiday season quickly, I always say this, it's really, really hard to purge and organize holiday decor when you're not in the actual season. So for example, right now, if you have Halloween and fall decor out, then when you put it away, get that category organized nicely, labeled, all that, because you're in the mood. And then deal with your Christmas or your Hanukkah decorations during that season when you're in the mood. The best thing to do is to decorate your house and then look in the bins at what's left. And if you didn't put it out, you most likely don't love it and you can probably let it go. So doing the holiday decor the best time of year is during the actual holiday season. So what else? If you're going to store any fabric in the basement, make sure you're storing them in a vacuum sealed storage bag to reduce the risk of mildew, especially if you have a damp basement. If you have a damp basement, it's so important to not use cardboard boxes and to have proper shelving. I suggest proper shelving for every basement, and I will tell you my favorite one in the show notes. It's actually from Home Depot, and when you see it, if you go to the link, it is easy to assemble, which is why I love it. It is not plastic. Not plastic, ladies. Plastic shelving does not hold up with heavy storage bins over many years. It just doesn't. These shelves from Home Depot are amazing. Yes, I am giving a shout out to Home Depot. I hope they hear this because I have told so many people to buy this shelf. I use it in our basement. We love it. My husband and I popped it together in about 10 minutes. You don't need any tools to put it together, which is one of my favorite things about it. And it doesn't collect dust because it's like a grid shelf and it's metal and it holds up forever and you can take it when you go. It's not installed to a wall. So if you move, you can just bring it along. It's great. I'll put that in the links too. What else? So, the thing about it is if you're going to take the time to organize your basement the right way, then make sure that you are wiping things down and getting rid of dust and cobwebs because nobody wants to go in their basement if it's all dusty and full of cobwebs. I hope this helps you. I hope this episode encourages you and inspires you to not be afraid of your basement. It's not as bad as it seems. And if you can't do it alone, ask for help, ladies. There's so many people out there just like me that look at a big messy pile in a disastrous area and see potential in it and actually think it's fun to get it organized. Trust me, I'm not the only one out there like this. So, and if you're in the Western New York area or you're in Florida, please, or even the Charlotte area, you can definitely email me and I'll be happy to come help you out. So that's all I have for today with the Organize Now challenge. Also, really, really, really important, guys. I would love to be able to help you with all your organizing needs via this podcast. So if you have an area that you would love for me to discuss on the show, and you're really looking for tips and tricks and just need help, then just go ahead and in the comments on the show, make sure that you post what you're looking for, and I will read them, and I will make sure that we address all of the questions and things on the next Organize Now Challenge podcast. So hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for listening. I love all of you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for tuning into another episode of the 29 Minute Mom.